Your Excellency, while we welcome all the honorable members back to Juba, I also take this opportunity to congratulate those who made use of the research to touch base with our people at the grassroots. Not only were they able to see for themselves the negative effects of the ongoing economic challenges on communities at the grassroots, but they were also able to witness the remarkable strength and resilience with which our people continue to navigate this hardship. Mr. President, honorable members, beyond the economic concerns, South Sudan indeed faced a range of complex challenges during 2024. These included localized insecurity stemming from intercommunal tensions, political and social tensions, the incident in Nasser, Central Equatoria, Warab State, and Western Equatoria State, especially the ongoing killing in Sombra County since 2021. The impact of natural disasters, public health concerns, the implication of conflict in our neighboring countries, especially in Sudan, massive displacement of communities across the country as IDPs and refugees, acute food shortages in most parts of the country, and others. We commend you, Mr. President, for the efforts exerted to de-escalate those tensions as well as provision of humanitarian assistance to the affected population through relevant institutions in collaboration with our partners. This highlights your resolve to maintain peace and security within the country and in the region. Your Excellency the President, as you mentioned yesterday in your message to the SPLM members at the SPLM House, and I quote, "The peace agreement remains our only roadmap to peace, and we must put it in the center of all our political work and activities." End of quote. Accordingly, Mr. President, the National Legislature takes this as a directive, and hence renews its commitment and undivided resolve to work closely with the other arms of government to implement the remaining portion of the peace agreement and other challenges that will usher us to a democratic election. The effects of the aforementioned challenges were widespread, but felt most acutely at the grassroots where a majority of our people live. Delays in payment of government salaries and inadequate delivery of basic public service greatly exacerbated the situation. The national legislators were themselves not spared. They went for months without salaries, medical allowances for the last 2 years, no means of transport and other privileges. In fact, some of the honorable MPs were unable to travel to their respective constituencies during the recess because the funds for that purpose were not disbursed. Those who had various medical conditions were not able to get treatment today. I therefore appeal for the inclusion of the medical funds for the honorable members of parliament in the top list of the priorities of the Ministry of Finance. Healthy MPs means a healthy parliament and a healthy, effective parliament. Your Excellency, honorable members, although Parliament carried out most of its essential functions, is scheduled for the year, despite the above, you will see in our annual report, copies of which are provided before you, that a good number of activities had to be shelved due to lack of funds. In fact, as reflected in the financial annual report, the National Legislature received only about 40% of its allocated budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year. This situation was, however, not unique to the legislature. It reflected broad fiscal constraints across many public sector institutions, with serious implications for service delivery, particularly at the community level. I also wish to commend you, Mr. President, for your directive to the economic cluster institutions to prioritize the payment of civil servants and organized forces, the salaries of civil servants and organized forces on a monthly basis, starting from January this year. I also want to thank the Vice President and Chairperson of the Economic Cluster, His Excellency Dr. Benjamin Bowman, for the effective and efficient implementation of these directives. However, civil servants are faced with the challenge of accessing the salaries due to liquidity shortage. This, Your Excellency, needs to be addressed by the respective institutions. Despite all the above challenges, yet the TNLA was able to achieve the below summary of activities carried out in the last session 2024. In the matrix below, 17 office orders were issued mainly to deal with administrative issues by the TNLA and 8 by the Council of States and 3 by the Joint House. We had 52 due to the work at hand, which we had to do before the recess. The Transitional National Legislative Assembly held 52 sittings, while the Council of States held 12 sittings and the Joint House 7 sittings. In terms of original sitting, we had 2 original sittings to deal with humanitarian issues, 2 by the TNLA, 2 by TNLA, and 2 by the Council of States. We were able to pass 9 bills, while the legislature passed 3 bills. 1 regulation was passed by the TNLA. Meanwhile, the TNLA adopted and ratified 3 conventions. The TNLA passed 73 resolutions, while the Council of State passed 9 and the TNL 4 resolutions. We adopted 4 agreements signed by the Republic of South Sudan with various countries, and we had 5 motions on important and urgent matters raised by MPs. We tabled the 3 ministerial policies were tabled and committed to specialized committees. We conducted 7 parliamentary diplomacy missions as mandated by our regulation, and also we hosted 1 regional event. The TNLA carried out 11 capacity building workshops for its members to build their capacity, while the Council of State carried 7 workshops to build the capacity of their members. Your Excellency, honorable members, in some respect, the challenges that defined 2024 spilled over into the current year as well. As we look ahead to the general elections scheduled for 2026, this financial and institutional pressure will continue to demand the attention of government throughout 2025. It is imperative that national legislation must work hand in hand with our colleagues in the executive to find practical and sustained solutions to our country's problems. No external actors will come to fix them for us. We alone must take collective ownership of our responsibilities and commit to addressing the needs of our people. To do this, the legislators are expected to foster the spirit of cooperation that transcends party lines and personal ambitions. Although the holy season of Lent and the Ramadan are now behind us, their message continues to resonate in our minds. Those are periods of fasting, self-denial, and reflections observed by the majority of South Sudanese citizens, most of whom profess the Christian and Islamic faith. They remind us of the value of self-discipline, compassion, and solidarity with those who are less fortunate in our society, and call on us as individuals and leaders to renew our sense of purpose and deepen our commitment to serving the common good of all. This moment in time demands of us, the national legislators, to reflect seriously on those values and recommit ourselves to the responsibility we carry on behalf of our people. It is both civic and moral obligation to ensure that the needs of our citizens, especially the most vulnerable, are addressed with urgency and care. That means advocating for the timely payment of salaries for our teachers, our nurses, sanitation workers, uniformed servicemen and servicewomen, and all civil servants, and ensuring that the delivery of basic services reach everyone in our community, instead of focusing mainly on our own needs and welfare. In support of this, legislators will continue to exercise meaningful oversight over the performance of the public institutions. On that note, allow me, Your Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, to address a matter of concern. The emerging perception in some quarters that legislative sermons are confrontational, personal attacks, or unnecessary interference. This matter is deeply concerned. Parliamentary instrument designed to promote transparency, collaboration, and mutual understanding when public officials appear before Parliament to clarify matters of public interest. It enables legislators to better understand the peculiar circumstances facing the various institutions and to support identification of practical solutions. Far from being an inconvenience or humiliation, responding to a parliamentary sermon should be viewed as an opportunity. It allows public servants to highlight the realities they navigate, share their accomplishments, and draw attention to areas in need of support. Ultimately, this enhances public trust and strengthens the relations between our institutions and the citizens they serve. With that regard, we encourage all public servants, including those in the executive branch, to continue cooperating with the legislature in the spirit of constitutional accountability. Parliamentary oversight should not be viewed as an adversarial function, but rather as a vital tool for improving governance.